All right, another thing that we were excited for when Caleb Williams was coming to the Chicago Bears was his ability to hit the deep ball. And in this game, on passes of 20 yards or longer, he was 3 of 10. Are you concerned at all that the deep ball is not translating as much, or at least some of the looks that he's gotten haven't been as he's missed? I mean, the Roma Dunze play down the sideline was one that certainly stuck out to people, but is it at all concerning that he isn't connecting on these as frequently as we saw in college?
I wouldn't use the word concerned. I'd use the word surprised. Because I think that it will get ironed out because he has such a long track record of actually being accurate on those plays. But you're right. There have been way too many moments where I thought a big play was going to happen, and he airmailed his wide receiver. It got a little bit better. I mean, the deep crosser he completed to Dunze was also a really good pass, as was the deep ball. But I'm surprised would be the way I'd describe his lack of accuracy down the field.
It reminds me of a young three-point shooter whose brain is kind of scrambled in the NBA originally. I think he's in a, just again, he's thinking too much. He's not in a rhythm. Once it becomes more second nature playing football again, he'll hit more of these. So he'll be better. So I'm not concerned.
Tells us he will.
Yeah. It's one of his things that work.
Yeah.
So.
All right, when you look across the league at some of the quarterbacks that won over the weekend, Malik Willis, Andy Dalton, Sam Darnold, not only did they all win, but they all won in convincing fashion. And what's the commonality there? They've all have offensive-minded head coaches. Is this showing exactly what the Bears' problem is right now in terms of their offensive struggles? Because if you take away the defensive scores, they're averaging, I think, around 13 points per game this year.
Look, I believed that Eberflus wasn't the guy. I wanted them. I was open to the point where a lot of people were actually mad at me because I was very hard on Eberflus. I don't think he's the right guy. I wanted them to go out and search for a coach. I was a big Ben Johnson fan. I was an advocate for bringing Jim Harbaugh back. They had the biggest year of free agent coaches on this side. But again, is it the biggest thing? I think their biggest issue is the offensive line. Yeah, that's their biggest issue.
I agree with that assessment. Look, when you are drafting the first player overall at the quarterback position, developing him is paramount. And the last thing you will want to do is, if for whatever reason it doesn't go well this year, have to start over again. I just thought, again, we've talked about this so often, about matching people up for, the right time for the right situation. And if you were going to move off of Justin and draft a quarterback first overall, I didn't think it was a crazy idea to go out and sign a head coach that was an offensive-minded guy who could help not only be the head coach of your team, but could develop your quarterback.
Yeah, and avoid the circle of suck.
Yes.
The same mistakes that they've made in years past.
So let's just say, gosh, hopefully this isn't the case. And I'm not preaching doom right now. But for whatever reason, it doesn't go the way you like, and you're forced to make a coaching change at the end of the season. That's the last thing you want for a young quarterback. Because then we get into the same scenario that you were in with the previous quarterback. He's got a college coach. He's got a new offensive coordinator in year one. He's got a new offensive coordinator in year two. That's three different systems. So,
you scramble their brain.
So to say it was a bad idea to go in a different direction at the end of last year based on what you knew you were doing, I think it was very reasonable to make a decision to move forward on that front, if in fact that's what they did. They didn't. So
I always said it was time for Poles to find his Andy Reid.
Yeah.
And there were people who told me he thinks Eberflus is his Andy Reid.
I hope that's the case.
I don't get that. Yeah.
I hope that's the case.
All right. Well, you have one more, Tyler?
Yeah, real quick, one more. We've got a Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight, the first of 3 that we have this season. And these new doubleheaders only start 45 minutes apart. We used to have the, first week of the season Monday night doubleheader where you had the early game and then you had the late game that started after. First part, do you like the Monday Night Football doubleheader? And second part, do you like it in this format where they're separated by 45 minutes or the last format where they're separated by a couple hours?
I think they did this last year too, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't
I-
mind this because I have access to watch them both at the same time.
Yeah, and we're not up so late, and the finishes don't happen at the same time. We're used to watching football games simultaneously. So on Sunday, we love it.
Yeah.
So now we've got two, but they're not starting at the exact same time. So therefore, the finishes, we'll get one fourth quarter, and then we'll get a second fourth quarter. And we're not up till midnight.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have I shared my conspiracy with you guys on this?
No,
I think you
got
have,
it.
but I forget it.
Okay. I think this is the league in cahoots with YouTube TV.
Oh, yeah. So you can get the double box,
Because
quad
YouTube
box
TV
thing.
has the multi-view, and everyone's going to be talking about how, oh, I was able to watch both games at once because of the multi-view. So everyone who has Hulu TV or maybe traditional cable wants to watch both games at once.
It's a good thought.
And then they flipped to YouTube TV.
Whatever happened to picture in picture?
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, like picture in picture, because that's the one problem with the multi-view on YouTube TV with just two, is there's so much dead space on the screen. But if they gave you a picture in picture, it would be phenomenal.
Do you remember picture in picture technology was out there like 20 years ago, then it went away? Whatever happened to picture in picture?
It's because it forces you to have two subscriptions, not one, right? Like Tyler's saying.
No, you didn't have to do that.
No,
with
you had a
picture-in-picture.
television and you would just tune in a second channel. And then the one had a smaller screen and you can watch two things on one screen at once.
I think the biggest issue was
I was
So why
never,
did they get
I
rid of
did
it?
have enough money to buy one of those TVs back then. So now finally I've got more of an expendable income and now they don't have the technology.
I think the biggest issue was, from my perspective, I remember for football games, there was never a good spot really to place the small picture, because for a football game, you kind of want to see the whole screen. Do you know?
I
Because
feel like you could put it top right.
no, but I'm just telling you, like you'd pick a spot where it was either top right or lower right, and inevitably the ball would go towards that spot on the field, and then you were kind of like moving the box around. So it wasn't
wanna
ideal.
move the box
Don't wanna
around.
move the box around.
You
Everybody
want to keep your
make sure
box
you know where
in
the box
place.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets,
no
you know,
movement.
It gets messy.